young people as well as some rights activists like yourself went into the creeks to discuss with these militants back then, and you expected the same from the north. Perhaps that same approach can't actually give the desired result in the north. That is why the traditional leaders have been in talks with the government of the day, isn't it?
See, it's not the fact that whether it's traditional leaders or governors or politicians that are taking this forward. The point is they should make us to have the opportunity to discuss with Boko Haram. I mean, what's the point of saying to federal government, go ahead. Okay, fine. Federal government has said they are prepared to offer amnesty. Okay, now, then the Boko Haram sect has come up to say they are not interested in amnesty, and that already that federal government should actually be asking them for amnesty. So already, if you look at it like that, then that approach has already failed, because within the past few weeks, 2 weeks or so, of this actually coming to materialize, people are confused. Was amnesty offered? Was amnesty not offered? It is very clear that Boko Haram is saying, you know, whether amnesty is offered, amnesty is not offered, we're not interested in amnesty, full stop. So where then do we go from here? So perhaps if the elders and politicians and the traditional and religious leaders have failed, maybe this is the time for people like me in the north, people, youth, and people that actually will know these people. People must know these people, unless, of course, if they are living in Niger or any other country outside of Nigeria and do sneak into through our borders, come and commit these atrocities, and then sneak back out again. Then it brings us back to the issue of failure of government, because if that can happen, then it means one arm of government that is the borders and the entry points are under has clearly failed. If people are coming in from outside, which of course in the past has been insinuated to, that these are not Nigerians, that they're coming in from outside and all kinds of stuff. So really the facts are just not on the table. Who are Boko Haram people? It's only what they are requesting for that is on the table. And I think those should be addressed by federal government, by their state government, by the local government, and not have politicians or other leaders put words into their mouths. You know, all I am interested in, and I think every reasonable person is interested in, who understands acts or rights, is that they should air their views. But please, 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 stop killing men, women, and children, Muslims and Christians alike, old and young. Please stop killing them. They are not part of this process. Let us sit down and discuss. Whatsoever you want, let us sit down and discuss. Let the killing stop. If on those bases they are sorry and they won't kill anymore, then I think most Nigerians will be very, very happy with that, and leave the security aspect and the negotiating to the government and of the state, the local government, and the federal government. What ordinary Nigerians are appalled by is this just mayhem of killing people, innocent people. People wake up in the morning and they're not able to go back to sleep.
Just allow me button here, Anniko, because the way and manner, yesterday in the news, 18 people were arrested, and the police has come up to say, well, we have a whole lot of them from Niger, Chad, and some other neighboring African countries, as you have highlighted earlier on. Do you think that these same members of the sect are actually Nigerians? Because a whole lot of people have actually said, if truly they were Nigerians, by now maybe some youth in that particular region, or even the elders, should be at least in talks with 1, 2, or 3 of them. Do we think that we have Nigerians as members of Boko Haram?
Well, I mean, how will I know? I will know if you know. You know, because how can we know whether they are Nigerians or not Nigerians? We're just speculating. And we can't know because the people who are supposed to give us this information are not able to give us the information. That is very clearly either because they know and they don't want to tell us, or they just don't know. And it brings us back to the point. Do they know these people that are killing Nigerians? So if they are Nigerians, how are they getting into Nigeria? But you see, it's very clear, because even in Rivers State in Port Harcourt, where I live, there are people from Niger. They're not Nigerians. It's very clear that they're not Nigerians because you can see their features. But the Boko Haram, we don't see their features. You see them begging on the streets of Port Harcourt. We know that they're not northern Nigerians. They are from outside of Nigeria. For instance, a few days ago, and this is ongoing within the southern area, that herdsmen who are moving cattle and herds from the north down to the south, in the process of moving them on a day-to-day basis, these cattle and herds are actually going into people's farms. And in Ndukwa West local government area in Delta State, there is the report right there in the papers that there was a clash between the communities and the headsmen. And the claim in the papers is that these headsmen were carrying AK-47. For crying out loud. I mean, how is it that headsmen are carrying AK-47s? How is that possible in the south of Nigeria, in Niger Delta, in Delta State? So you see, already we are going to have friction. It's very clear now that there is a north-south friction in the way that the killings is going on, and there is therefore a Christian-Muslim friction. People just say it's not so. That is not true. Now, if it is true that headsmen were carrying AK-47, that is totally unbelievable. Even reading it in the paper, I still don't want to believe it. Because how is it? Are they going to use it to shoot the cows if they come out of the bushes and go on the highway? Or is it that they are actually going to use it to shoot the owners of the farms that in which these cows are headed in? So government must very quickly step in and protect the people from this mayhem.
This perspective also, the men's perspective, because you talked about some people not being surprised if men actually goes on with that threat, because they say from May 31st they'll begin bombing or attacking also Muslim establishments. But if that were to be the case, first of all, you think that is a good way to even come up? Should they have even come up with such statement in the first instance?
I mean, personally, I have always maintained that I am on a course. I believe in something. And that thing that I believe in is the emancipation of the Niger Delta region and the Niger Delta people. Now, the word emancipation is very clear what it means. So, what MEND has been doing in the past is MEND has declared itself the armed arm of the emancipation of the Niger Delta people. Ken Sarawiwa was if you like, the intellectual arm of the emancipation of our environment, which will bring us actually, I hope, in this program, to very quickly touching on the issue of the environment and oil theft in the Niger Delta. The so-called new word now is oil theft in the Niger Delta. I hope we'll come back, we will come to that. Now, what MEND has shown very clearly, whether it is right or it is wrong, what MEND has shown very clearly is that MEND is saying if Boko Haram is able to kill and maim Christians and kill and bomb churches and even Muslims alike, then they are Christians and they also will do likewise in the south. Why do we like to pretend? I am not the most intelligent person in Nigeria. Neither do I, claim to be. But this is how I have understood it. The question is now, how do ordinary Nigerians understand this? Do they now see men as the monster today instead of what is really happening in Nigeria being the mega monster in Nigeria today? In Niger Delta, the issues are very clear. Amnesty was offered. It was offered on the belief that when the arms are laid down, that the process of environmental cleanup and devastation will be controlled and the development of the Niger Delta will commence. Massive infrastructural development was the word that was used by the then president when the amnesty was offered. We're still waiting for any kind of development, not to talk of massive infrastructural development. And the blame for that also goes to the Ministry of Niger Delta, the NDDC, and so many other agencies that have been set up in the past for the Niger Delta. Now, the key thing here is that government must sit down and listen to what is happening. In the Niger Delta